Hi, Rosemary. How are you doing?
Hi, I am doing well. How are you doing, Carol?
I'm doing well, thank you. It's
Good.
we're meeting for our monthly reading and we're already in April. Can you believe that?
I cannot believe it. Where did it seems like it was just January yesterday, like we were just stepping into 2026, and here we are. Uh, geez, we're a third of the way through the year.
I know, I know.
That's pretty
So
crazy.
yeah, so it's but it's exciting. Spring is coming and all the flowers are coming
Yes,
out and so I kind of like spring, and
I do too. I love spring.
I just don't like the unpredictability of it because
Oh,
it's like layers. You got to dress with layers because
y-
morning is still cold and then by the afternoon everybody's in shorts. So
yeah, you just never know. And the poor plants, we get these warm bursts of
yeah,
gorgeous weather, and everybody thinks it's and blossom. We can come out of the ground. And then we get a cold snap, one more cold snap before we're actually in summer. And then the lilacs don't make it. And some of the fruit trees, their blossoms die, so you don't get fruit. And
right.
yeah, it's that always that one last cold snap before summer hits. So it's tricky. It's unpredictable. Yeah, for sure.
So every month we like to do a reading, to kind of navigate the energies. And so I am who we are is two dedicated women trying to brighten the world, right? In our own little corner.
Yes, hopefully.
Well, I'm Carole Funk. I'm an integrative practitioner of metaphysics. I hold a lot of different certifications, studied different modalities, and feel like Mary Poppins with my bag of tricks, right?
Your magic bag, yeah. You're always pulling big old things out of that.
So I'm passionate about creating purposeful tools. Right now, I'm actually working on um, 22-day journeys. So I'm putting that together and then using my art a little bit more into experiences. So it's kind of fun to see where it's going to lead. And I also support clients with private and group healing sessions. So I'm restarting at the place of employment that I started back in September. I'm going to be hosting events, in-person events again. So I'm excited about that.
So if anybody is in your area, you should tell us where that is, Carolyn, when to it starts the April 21st, right?
Yes, the first event is going to be April 21st, which is the Intuition Lounge.
Right.
Uh, that's going to be from April to October of this year, and then every 2 months, excuse me, I'm going to start in May, and then May, July, September, and November. I'm going to do uh, a flip of meditations, workshops. I'm going to do the Akashic records again, the past life regression.
Mhm.
So a lot of movement in person, and that's going to be at Journeys, a Center for Your Soul in Salem, Oregon. So that's where I'll
Nice. Oh, that's exciting. I'm so happy for you. And if you're in the area, be sure you take advantage of this opportunity. Carol is an alchemist. She's a magician. So yes, yes.
Thank you, thank you. And here's Rosemary.
I'm Rosie, Nevada. I'm a psychic medium. I like to use my aptitudes to communicate with anything that wants to communicate with me whether it's people in skins, people who don't live in skins anymore, different animals. I actually had a conversation one time with a piece of pottery that was really, really interesting, and it brought me to tears. And it was like, this pot's making me cry. And it was just, and I went to the creator of the pot and I said, I don't know if you believe I'm an animist. I don't know if you believe that everything is ensouled and can communicate and is alive. And he said, oh, absolutely. And I said, can I tell you what your pot had to say? And I told him, he said, oh my God, there's no way you would have known that because this is what happened. And that's why she said that. And it was clearly a feminine feeling in a voice. And so I even talked to handmade ceramic pieces.
And the consciousness of crystals, because that's how the crystal deck
Right,
was born.
right. That's
So
how the crystal deck
yeah,
came in. Yeah. So I do lots of readings using various divination tools. I do direct readings, and I use my favorite, of course, are our decks, oracle cards and tarot cards. But of course, my favorite cards to work with are our decks. So that's what I do, and I'm passionate about using my aptitudes to be of service to others.
you're so wonderful.
So are
Um,
you.
Thank you. So we decided to do one prompt, and we're going to do a 5 card draw based on the prompt. And because of everything that's happening in the world, which is a little bit unsettling, we thought we will bring it back to sometimes it's in that chaos of uncertainty. It's hard to trust ourselves and trust the unfolding. So the prompt that we decided to use as we drew cards, and we drew the card just prior to coming on the call, so we would actually be ready to record. Which is so the prompt is, what is the next soul aligned step that requires me to trust deeply? And I think it's a powerful question to ask.
Yes, absolutely. Gosh, trusting deeply, especially ourselves, if we end up being betrayed and we make bad choices, we betray ourselves and then we lose our self-trust. And that's the hardest trust to regain, I think. So this whole thing about being aligned and trusting is crucial.
And for me, it's a lot of time when I made a bad decision is I used to stay in with the judgment of it for month and month,
Yes.
and
Yes.
just kind of like, how could I have been so stupid,
Beat
or how could I
yourself
have
up.
trusted
Yeah.
this? And,
Oh,
so,
that's
so
yeah.
it was always about self-talk, negative talk, self-negative
Negative
talk,
self-talk.
and
Yeah.
yeah, negative self-talk, and just being in judgment of
Mm-hmm.
of myself, and my decision making, or the lack of the lack of
Mm-hmm.
discernment. I didn't know the word at the time,
Yeah. Yeah.
so I think it's
Boy.
good for us to really be able to go inward and use cards to kind of help us shape the day, because uh, I'm always amazed how on point they are and how simple of a practice it can be to just turn your day around, just to turn your perception of things. Or, if it's the I am deck that you're using, then it's just an affirmation that you carry throughout the day. But
Mm-hmm.
it can really lead you into having different experiences.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And here are our beautiful decks.
Yes, so we have the I am Oracle, which is an inner journey of empowerment. The color deck is about working with their frequencies and their qualities. We have the crystal deck, which is, I feel, more of encouraging support from other sentient beings, and it's
Mm-hmm.
opening up to another realm of consciousness. And then we have the consciousness deck, embracing my I am, the consciousness of my I am oracle, which is about expanded perceptions. And then we have the I am, the manifestor, which is about, being in one with the infinite field. So it's
Yeah.
they work independently, but they work beautifully together. Just kind of like, we've pulled the 5 cards, and we kind of are guided as to the order of how to pull. Like today, we were guided to use the color as the last card, because of that possible expansion that it can bring to us. So, we follow
Right.
also our intuition in terms of,
Right.
sometimes we follow the order of the decks the way they were created, but sometimes we just follow
Yeah.
what we're guided, how we guided
And
to.
I think the color deck is perfect for that expansion thing because each of our decks has an opening phrase for every card. And the one for the color deck is I am opened to. So right there, there's that whole expansion thing. So I think it's perfect for the final card. So yeah, we do it differently, and today that's how we did it. Yeah.
And I love that your arms, as you speak, your arms open up automatically because of that expansion.
Exactly.
So
When you
it's
think it, it's
really
just being open to, yeah.
right, right. Okay, so we started out with keeping the keeping the prompt in mind of what is
Mm-hmm.
the next soul aligned step that requires me to trust deeply. We started out with the embracing the consciousness of my I am oracle.
Right.
And the first card that we pulled is facet work. So it's really so the each of the card that on the embracing the consciousness of my I am oracle start out with I am grateful for because I felt like that was we felt like that was a great way to it's a great way a great state of being to be in as you expand and in consciousness. So it feels kind of like an amplifier to me.
Yeah, it is. I think it is. Yeah, absolutely.
So the message is I'm grateful for the understanding of the roles I have played throughout many lifetimes, acknowledging and learning to balance my light and shadow provide lessons for my evolution. As I move into my true power by embracing all facets of my being, I welcome all forms of forgiveness. I find my center. So here maybe I'm called to say that even if you're not a non-believer of past lives, you still can use that card because facet work talks about, the light and the shadow. So you don't necessarily to need to believe in all the roles that you've played, but within you there is light and shadow. There's things that you feel that you have not accepted. So the card itself is about full self acceptance, embracing the whole. So this
Right.
is
Looking
this
at
is
everything. Yeah. Yeah.
so I
I
feel
think
like
that's a,
the middle
yeah.
spot is the whole, and looking
Yeah. Oh,
at the
yes. And the
sensitive.
image. Yeah. And
Yes.
the image, there's a big opening right here. Yeah. I love this card. And I love the message too. Because everybody's multifaceted. Everybody has layer upon layer upon layer and life upon life upon life. And all of it feeds into what we're doing currently. So whether we're aware of it or not. So
And I
yeah,
think as we look at all these aspects, we can start to really more deeply trust ourselves because we're actually getting a better understanding of who we are as individual and understanding our personalities and understanding even from doing your astrological chart or doing the human design kind of you've been programmed a certain way as you came
right,
as you chose to come into this life. So looking at the uh, it's useful to kind of look at the bigger picture and then because then you can see yourself within it. Like I read when I did my uh the human design, I did the gene keys, I had a reading of my soul handprint, like the not it wasn't palmistry, but it was the actual print of my on my hand by someone. And so there's so many different ways you can figure out yourself, but once you have it on paper or if you hear it from someone else, it's kind of like, oh, wait a minute. This to me, it was like the bigger revelation is like, oh, well, there's nothing wrong with me. This is the way I was programmed. And now
hmm
how can I align myself with how I was programmed? So what kind of work or what kind of healing do I need to do to kind of embrace the bigger picture of who I am as that little particle individual playing a role in this world?
right, right. Yeah, I love that. I love that whole idea of using that information to remember how to be in alignment.
Mhm.
I think we know from the get-go what we need to do, but when we come into this meat suit, we come in with a really bad case of amnesia, so we can't remember what we came in for and what we're aligned with, and so we have to refigure it out. And so that facet work is really an integral part. And I think we chose facet work um, because the big catch term right now is shadow work. It's everything is about shadow work.
Right.
Well, we thought, well, there's more facets to you than just your shadow.
Right. Right.
So we decided to use facet instead of shadow. We do mention shadow in there. Shadow is mentioned, but it's more than that.
Yeah, because it's a lot of time you dismiss, you kind of look at more of the negative traits or aspects of yourself rather than
Hmm.
the positive aspect of yourself.
Right,
So we have to, embrace the whole. It's not just the looking at the negative. So if we could take a spin of, oh, wait a minute, I'm a good listener, or I care, or I like to support others, or looking at the qualities, making a list of your qualities, and then making a list of those things that maybe you get triggered from, maybe can help you have an understanding of where you are, and
right,
what kind
right.
of lesson you're here to learn as well. So,
Yeah, I
so
have a I had a friend. She since I have lost contact with her, but sometimes we'd have conversations. She'd say something and I'd get really strident in my comment on it. And she'd say, Whoa, whoa, Rosie, that's a trigger for you. That just triggered something. You need to look at that and figure out what was triggered and why you had that as strident of a response as you did. And so now, because she's not here to remind me of that, when I have a real strong reaction to something, I hear her voice. So that's a trigger. What do you need to know about that? That's some facet work for you to do.
one of my favorite, I forgot if it's what it's called, but the why in grammar, I don't remember the terminology of the. Is it an adverb? No, it's not an adverb.
Why is an it's an interrogative. It's a word that asks and introduces a question.
Right. So that word is
Yeah,
very powerful because it can get you into looking deeper into the layers of
right.
things. So I've
Yeah.
asked, the why is very important in my vocabulary.
Oh yeah, and you know what? If you have a Scorpio, if you're a Scorpio astrologically, if it's your sun size sign, if it's your rising sign, if it has an emphasis in your chart, you're a why girl. You're a why person. So I'll have to look at your chart and see where it's going on with your Scorpio because you are the why girl for sure.
All right. So would you like to take us to the next deck?
Sure. Is that that's a crystal deck, right?
Yes, uh-huh.
Yeah, so this is our crystal deck. We pulled the card that came up for the question. Would you say the question again, Carol?
Sure. What is the next soul aligned step that requires me to trust deeply?
Yes, and the card that came up for this is Sand Rose. And all of these cards start with the phrase voicing a message of. So Sandrose voices a message of meet yourself to create the life you want. So the message is you are the architect of your life. You craft your life by tapping into inspiration, creativity, choices, and free will. These are found in the spirit within. Tap into the uniqueness. Tap into the originality of the one with the capital O one, the one who lives in the skin you're in. Open your link to meet yourself. In this, it is time to create the life you want. And I love this. There's an opening here. It almost looks like an eye. Yeah, this is yeah, I love this. Meet yourself to create the life that you want.
Well, and it really ties well with the card, the previous card, which is discovering all the facets of you so you can actually figure out what your choices are and step into your free will. Because a lot of times we've been so conditioned that we don't think we have options or we have free will. So
Right.
by really meeting yourself to create the life you want, it's the meeting yourself is through the facet work.
Yes, exactly. You're the architect. You're the one who crafts your life. But so much, I mean, how many people, I've known so many people, Carol, who have let somebody else decide how they were going to live their life. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we've all done it. And I know it's especially true for women because if you get married, if you get into a relationship, generally the woman is expected to cater to and cow to and work around the partner's decisions. Like, for example, how often, if you're married to a man, how often do the women say, I got a job offer, we're moving, and the man says, okay, and stops his whole life and moves with you? Usually it's just the other way around. You're supposed to give everything up and all your dreams, it doesn't matter. Even if you're doing a job that offers as much financial support or possibly more, the expectation is that you drop everything and your life is dictated by someone else. And so, and that's not being in alignment with yourself, and that's not being authentic and inspired. And that's not trusting in who you are and what you're here to do. It's following somebody else's dictate. So yeah, so love this about meet yourself to create your life.
And I like the one who tap into the originality of the one, because unless you do that inner work, you don't really, you have so many dormant inside of you that once if you choose to live your life on a, I'm going to use the word superficial level, but it's not
Hmm.
necessarily that the best word, because sometimes it's unaware, not
Yeah,
superficial, it's unaware.
yeah, this is true.
So right. So once you become aware, then you can awaken all these dormant gifts and talents and tap into that originality, that uniqueness that it's being that needs to be recognized and also being tapped into so that you can be in alignment with your purpose or being in alignment with why you're here, uh, how you're here to live your life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
You know what? I read this really interesting thing about how sand roses are created. They're made of gypsum. Here in New Mexico, where I live, we have the white sands. It's a park, and but it used to be a testing ground and stuff, and it's gypsum sand. The sands are pure white, and sand roses are made from gypsum. And I remember reading an article about it, but I can't remember, which is rare for me. I can't remember a single detail about it, but I remember thinking how interesting. And then I pulled up this card and I thought it tied together so well. I'll have to Google it and we can talk about it next
Okay.
time.
Now, in the crystal deck, we don't necessarily just have crystal. We also have metals, and it's
Yeah.
it's when we create when things were showing up for me. Um, I sent out the cards or the images to Rosie, and then she had conversation with them. And then at the end, we had more than the 63 card that we put, because I was trying to be consistent with the 63 that I was told or guided to use for the first deck that I created. So
Mhm.
um, I asked who wanted to be in the deck, so we didn't necessarily just stick to crystals and gemstones.
And we didn't use, somebody said to me the other day at the psychic fair in Winslow, she was looking at the crystal deck, and she said, wow, I so love that you didn't use there's uncommon stones in here.
Right.
There's not the ones that you always see. I've never heard of some of these, and I said, what's really interesting is that when you look at the images and then you look at the actual physical stone or crystal or metal, it's eerie how the graphic represents it quite well. And Carole does all the art. She's a graphic artist, and she does all the art using fractals and sacred geometry. So she was so totally fascinated by that. And she really loved that we used unusual or lesser known crystals.
Right. Well, I didn't dictate.
No.
They showed up in the artwork and told me who they were, or if
Mm-hmm.
or they showed me their essence. Because I felt some of them I didn't know their name, so I had to do a little bit of research. But I knew what they were about, so I felt their presence. I felt
Mm-hmm.
their meaning, but I didn't have a name for it, so I had to. But most of them, they introduce themselves like, they just, I didn't go out and, oh, I want to create a sardonyx. Okay, what does it look like? What would it look like? It just showed up. So,
Showed up.
so that's
Yeah.
that's I think that's a big difference as well, because um my intention was just to be able to receive rather than create, dictate.
Right. Right. And my intention was just to try and connect, and I didn't even know if I could do it. You asked me to try it. And what was so astounding to me is that I was informed that we're ancient, sentient beings that are multidimensional, and you meet us here in this time space, on this plane of existence, on this planet. You see us in this form. But that's not all that we are. We're only that here. So that was really fascinating.
Yeah, beautiful. No, I'm so, we were in tears when we opened
Yeah,
the
it was our first
packages.
it was our first joint effort. I was so honored and surprised that Carole asked me to try, and I had no idea if I could even do it. And then we ended up with these gorgeous messages from these
Yeah.
multidimensional beings who present to us as mineral kingdom and metal. And yeah, it was really interesting.
So the next deck is I Am Oracle.
This is Carole's first deck. I love this deck. I bought this from her right after she published it, and I still use it every single day to pull an affirmation. I love this deck.
So this one is I Am Shifting. That's the card that came up, which makes sense because as you doing your inner work, you're realizing you have the ability to meet yourself and create the life that you want. So you're automatically shifting. You're
Right,
um, so its messages, as my energy shifts, I am more whole and connected to all that is. I shift how I see the world and my place in it. So it's change of perception. Just also connecting with um, the crystals, the mineral kingdom, as other sentient, ancient sentient beings, is allowing you to see the world in a different place because you I didn't know that I learned that I feel like everything has consciousness. So, but I had to
yes,
get to that point, I had to.
sure. You know what's
So,
so interesting about this card is it's got two eyes. It has an
no,
eye here and an eye here, an eye opening, and it's like, and look at the different way they see.
right,
Look at all
right.
all the stuff here, and it's so interesting. And then it talks about shifting the way you see the world.
It's almost like the black hole is also what you're not seeing, but also what's in the void. So
Yes,
it's like
what's
there's
waiting.
duality. Yeah, there's like two dual
Y-
purpose, that not duality, but dual purpose there. It's like
Yeah,
the unseen and then the void of what you could tap into to see the unseen.
yeah. And what's waiting to be seen? What's
Right,
waiting to be
right,
seen?
right. And then that spiral is always that symbol of expansion and and
Uh,
looking, the light is getting bigger, so it's like looking through the
Yeah,
the lens of light. Mm.
yeah. I love it. I thought this is such a great card for showing different ways of seeing things.
I love
And the first
fractals.
time I ever saw it, first time I ever saw it, it made me think of an owl.
Yes,
The
that's
very
true
first time I
too.
remember, the very
Yeah.
first time I saw it, I thought, oh, what an interesting, this looks like an owl image.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah. And all
Would you
the
like to
textures and everything. Huh?
would you like to take us to the next
Sure, sure.
card?
So the next deck that we picked our cards from was the Manifestor deck. Um, Boy, was this a labor of love. It was quite the amazing experience. And there's so much energy in these cards. You can actually, it's like layers and layers and layers of vibration. Uh, and of course, when you're manifesting things, that's what happens is vibration shift. So the the card that came up for the question was shaking up the status quo. And it reads and all of these start with for the purpose of manifesting my soul's desire. Because that's what we do when we come in this incarnation. We come in, it's our soul's desire for us to come in and be here and do these things. And so in order to manifest the desires that our souls sent us here to do, this is what this card is saying. For the purpose of manifesting my soul's desires, I shake up the status quo with its stagnant energies. That's huge. I trust myself to engage my power as I embrace the waves of life by coming out of my comfort zone. How hard is that? So easy to stay put when it feels so safe. I become courageous and willing to take risks as I leap into the new way of being. I become open and malleable to new opportunities. I practice thoughtful consideration. I understand the implications of my choices and actions as they affect all generations. I take responsibility for what I decide to manifest. That's full of so much stuff. That is full of so many things. It's like, and look at how it vibrates. It just
Yeah, we call it the carnival card.
Yes, it looks like you're on a wild carnival ride. All the lights and the roller coaster and the everything going up and down. Yeah, it looks or a fun house. Yeah, it makes me think of a carnival.
I didn't
Wild
notice
rides.
on the top part, it looks like eyes and the head.
Oh my gosh, I just
Can
know,
you
every
see
time we
that?
look at these cards, we see something different. We
I
see a
know.
different card. Yeah. Yes, it does. Oh my gosh, I never noticed that.
Those, but I always reminds me of like yeah those poles of the carnival, the lights, all the lights that they have, and then
Right.
the bulbs are playing around. That's what it makes me
Yes.
feel like.
Yeah, me too. It just looks like a fun house or something. And
But
that's
I
boy,
love.
when we came in here, we sure this is like it's quite the carnival, isn't it?
Well, and it's really answering the prompt of trusting deeply,
Yes.
and to to have the courage and the willingness to step outside of comfort zone and to take risk, and to step into that becoming more flexible and adaptable. But that's because your energy has shifted, your perception of the world has shifted, which allows you um, to explore the world in a different way, and
Absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
and then all these missed opportunities that you never saw before because you were blinded to them. So
Oh
as your
yeah.
awareness increases, you see more of
Yeah.
what's available. So
Absolutely.
and that ripple of what you
Yeah.
decide today and how does that impact the future generation, I think is so power. It's such a powerful statement, because if we
Mm-hmm.
really were aware how and considerate, um, then the world might be a different place today,
Oh
so
yeah.
so as we
Absolutely.
each of us do our part, maybe we can achieve that
Yeah.
world that we're hoping to experience,
And being willing to take responsibility for our choices
Yeah.
and the actions that we take because of our choices. Yeah. This is a great way to end the
So that's the Manifestor deck.
yeah,
And then
yeah,
lastly, we have the last card is from Working with Color deck, with colors,
right.
their
This is
frequency,
our
their
ex
qualities, and their frequencies.
right. This is our
And
expansion card that we're so excited about.
this one is Big Cherry is the card that we both pulled.
Mm,
So that was funny. Um, so the each color usually has two or three qualities at the top. And then we have I wanted to this deck to be of create that expansion field. So it's the each card, each statement starts out with I'm open to the experience of, and then we embrace the qualities that the color reflects. So it talks about adaptation, dynamism, independence, which I think is a great word to end this reading because
oh,
uh,
yeah.
the soul aligned step that requires me to trust deeply is about creating that independence and that freedom. When I think of independence, I think of freedom.
Yes, absolutely. And it's totally about adaptation. You
Right,
have to change, you have to adapt. And in order to do that, you have to be dynamic. You
right.
have to apply dynamism. Yeah,
So,
that's,
so
yeah,
the
it's a
message is
great
I'm open
card.
to the experience of adapting to situations and promoting mind and body dynamism to support my independence. So
That's
this
a
is its
great
message.
card.
And I love the color because it reminds us of the ground, being grounded, the root chakra, being grounded to the earth so that we have that vibrancy and we are feet on the ground and uh, it almost feels like it could feel like a tree trunk in the way that it's shape here, which is
Yes, yeah,
and then the swirls are like the adaptability of it. So you're steady, yet you're malleable and flexible and adaptable. So I think it's a pretty cool way to look at it.
it is.
Yeah.
It absolutely
As a
is. Yeah.
reflection of my screen, but
Yeah, I've got a lot of reflection. These our cards are very shiny.
mm,
They're very easy to work with because they're slick, and so
right.
they're easy to shuffle, and they have a beautiful shine to them, which isn't good for photography because look, you can see the computer screen and the card,
All right.
but they're just gorgeous, and they're a good size for most people's hands because they're square. Yeah,
Also, each of uh, the back with where the words are, we have the sacred geometry, the flower of life pattern,
right is
which is
behind it.
about creation. So for me,
Yes.
it was important to create that space of creation within that expansion.
Right, right.
So that's the reading for this month. So I think it's um, a great message, a great guideline or a great storyline
Mm-hmm.
to the messages that we've received about how to create that deep trust. And it's about looking inward and discovering what's there and then appreciating what is there and embracing our uniqueness, embracing our all of our wholeness.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And embracing self-trust and embracing uh, uh working to embrace to be aligned with.
So we have a Facebook group that you can
Mm-hmm.
join, the Body of Wisdom Oracle Circle. It's if you want more readings, this is where the place to be because we can't right now. Rosie's is being banned from Facebook again to be able to share messages. So you may not see a lot of messages unless you're part of our Facebook group. So it's a good way
Right,
for you to belong into our group where we post
right.
readings and the theme for this year is about from awareness to embodied perception, where everything when we listen, everything becomes an oracle. So
Yeah.
it's really about us creating that awareness and providing messages So everything serves as a message.
Yeah, everything is a message, everything is an oracle. The Facebook algorithm thinks that I'm spamming. It keeps knocking me off. So I've cut my groups down to a third of what they were, and it still thinks I'm spamming. But there's also push right now for Facebook is trying to push people to monetize things and to they went my cane are pushing to monetize things and get people to pay to use and sharing as a form of advertising. So yeah, so just join our group if you want to see what we do. We're
Yes,
there.
exactly.
Yeah.
And if you want to reach out to us, these are our emails. We can do readings, we can do sessions, and however you want to be supported. I also offer creative consulting sessions for your projects and your entrepreneurial aspect, business aspect. So, you're welcome to reach out to us. And that is that. Thank you for being with us. Thank you,
Yes.
Rosie, for your contributions, your wisdom, your love, and your sharing with
Right back.
me, your time.
Right back to you. Right back to you. Thank you. This is always fun, and we hope that our viewers enjoy what we do and come see us on Facebook. And you have Instagram too, Soulful
Yes,
Joyful Living Instagram.
and I
And
have
then there's a
the
web page.
yeah,
There's a website. There's a
we have the web
website.
page. We have the Facebook business page as well, where you can find out all the events and things like that, and then you can find me Wednesdays, Saturdays, and Sundays at Journeys. For the month of April, for April 11th and 12th, I'll be at the Rasani Fair in Albany, Oregon, at the Lynn County Expo Center from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. It's one of the best and biggest expo, Body, Mind,
And one
Spirit
of the
Expo.
oldest too, right? Isn't it one of the oldest in the
Uh,
area?
well, she's celebrating, so she does two shows a year. So this is her 20th. This April marks the 20th show. So it's about 10
Wow.
years she's been doing it, and it's really a lot of great vibes. 100 plus vendors. I'm gonna have
Wow.
more artwork to share with everybody, and there's like 20 people that do lectures, so you can pick and choose what you want to listen to. You can get readings, you can get crystals, you can go get and sorcery art, you can get art decks.
Right. Right.
So come say hi if you're in the area.
Yeah. Drop in.
All right,
Thank
well,
you.
thank
Thank
you so
you.
much, Rosie. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
Enjoy the reading. Bye bye.
Bye bye.